Hey, so good evening, family, and welcome to the Good Vibes Lounge, where we meet the people where they are and empower them with spiritual wisdom. I'm Reverend Mitch. I'm the director and founder of the lounge, and I'm honored you've decided to join me. Tonight's broadcast is currently being streamed on the lounge's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Replays will be available on those platforms as well. So if you like what you hear, please share the recording and follow us on Facebook. The links are in the description box below. And while you're here, please like the video and subscribe. I really would appreciate it, family. And for your listening pleasure, the instrumental you just heard was actually There Goes My Baby by Usher. Can you believe that song came out 14 years ago? But I used it under fair use, so don't come for me, YouTube or Facebook. And tonight, as you can see, will be audio only. I will not be on camera because the space that I typically use to stream is being utilized. And where I currently am is not camera ready. I'll just say that. So we're going to do this straight podcast or radio style this evening, but I can still see your comments. So that hasn't changed. Of course, I'll be engaging with you all, but tonight will be a different format visually. It's going to be a different vibe. And FYI, family, if you hear kids in the background, that's just my niece and nephew, and they're okay. I promise you. But with that said, how are you all doing this evening? Let me check out the comments. Let me see. Sorry, give me one moment, you all. Oh, the comments. Good evening, Miss Debbie. How are you? What about, hey, good evening, Cam. I know you. Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson, funny how time flies. Wow. Now that wasn't the vibe tonight, but that's a classic though. I ain't gonna lie. Funny how time. No, I'm not gonna sing. Hey, Miss Cheryl, how are you? Good evening, Miss Lynn. Thank you for joining us. And so, family, I know you all saw the thumbnail, and so I just want to hop right into it. Well, actually, first, I hope you all had a relaxing Memorial Day. Salute to our veterans and to the family of the vets. Thank you for your sacrifices and for all that you do to keep us safe and free. God bless you. Thank you. But as I was saying, I know you all saw the thumbnail. I know you all saw the picture I put there. So let's make it very clear of the situation or what this is going to be centered around. I'll say that. But I want to make it clear up front that we're not here to talk about Diddy personally per se, because I don't know him. My goal tonight is to have a conversation surrounding how we got here and y'all heard what I said, right? What we can do to contribute to solutions. I don't want to talk about the personality. I want to talk about the consciousness that created the personality. I want to talk about the consciousness that propped up and protected and shielded this personality for years. I want to go where it matters. I want to go where it hurts. No, I don't. No, I don't want to say. I don't want it to hurt, family. I promise you, I don't. But we have to talk. Let's see. So let me switch something around really quick. Oh, yeah. Because when I really look at this entire situation and what's been going on for years with people being, exposed for their behavior, as a collective, Diddy is kind of our fault. Oh, Weinstein is our fault. Like these so called powerful moguls and tyrants, they're our creation. They're here because of us. They didn't make themselves, they became who they are because people or a consciousness encouraged them in their behavior. And all of a sudden, these same people are now shocked and oblivious by the monsters that they created. or let me make it personal, the monsters we created. Now, I'm not placing blame on any one individual. I'm just trying to get to the spiritual root of this. I'm also pushing us to operate more wisely in our power because acting powerless and like people, these people are just too powerful to stop. Mitch, we can't do anything. How? We made these people. How do we get to this point of fear or forgetting who's really in charge? No, it's like having your child cuss you out. Like, how do you get to that point, ma'am or sir? Somewhere we missed the mark and we got to get back in order. And even in our daily life, when we're in meetings or whatever, it'll be 10 people in a room scared of one person in there. How? Do you know you can flip that room upside down if you wanted to? Screw the title. The power isn't in the title, it's in you, the God in you specifically. And if someone is out of order, then we have a problem because what we don't get is that out of orderness can follow you multi generationally until you get in order. That's why you need to be careful with tradition. All right. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. No one is that important to where they can't get told you're out of line. So check that. Now, if you feel otherwise, if you feel that God made a special group of people who are more special than others, and this group can do whatever they want to do, then wow. Because this is how abusers are able to move under the radar. People like you, and I say it lovingly, and I don't say it accusatory, family, just follow it. Follow me. But with if you hold that belief that some people are more special, then what you do is you give people like this an out because then they'll think, well, I'm that special person and I can do whatever I want. And that's false. Everybody's special. It's not the divinity of some people, it's the divinity of all people, of all humankind. So even that stance is a bit off. But I'm just like, how is this one person able to harm people for decades? Like, that gets me. How is this one person able to do what he has done for decades? And this goes for anybody you worship, honestly. Why would you give any human that type of consideration? Do we need a hero that bad? And see, here I go. That's why I named it what I named it tonight. Tonight's topic: do you need a hero? Do we? Do we need a savior that much? Because we keep elevating people to these God levels. And then we get angry when a videotape comes out showing why they and no one really should have been held in that regard in the first place. And as Black folks, I got to go here, Black Americans specifically, because I can't speak to other melanated groups respectfully, but we need to check ourselves culturally because just I don't care if grandma did it. I don't care if grandma passed it down. No, no, no. It stops with me. See, remember when I said out of orderness can be multi generational? Well, that's how. When you accept destructive beliefs and behaviors from elders. And I talked about these elders on Mother's Day. If you didn't hear that sermon, go to the playlist, it's there. If it's not producing good fruit, it needs to go, specifically in the trash. See, listen, this is part of our duty as New Thought people, not to go along just to get along because you want to be liked. No, 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 no. That's not the assignment. As true students, we should always be in a constant mode of reevaluating and releasing the lesser for the greater. Lesser understanding for greater understanding, etc. And while there are many things that we need to reevaluate, one thing that we need to release is our tendency to deify people and to put people on a pedestal to where they can't be touched, all while they touching everybody. And I'm not attacking because I fall into this trap and folks like I'm on their payroll, but these days I'm doing it less and less because I'm seeing how dangerous it can be. Because when you're a sycophant, you tend to lose objectivity and even morality when you do that, because now in your eyes, bad behavior doesn't look so bad anymore. And let me be clear about something. We can applaud a person's gift. See, we can celebrate a person's greatness while also saying, yeah, bro, that wasn't okay. Or, yeah, baby girl, that wasn't cool. See, I don't think we've gotten to a place as a collective. I may be wrong, but I don't think we've gotten to a place where we can respect folks, but still hold them accountable when they overstep. And I pray that we can get there soon. Now, back to Diddy, though, or the consciousness, really. People know to him because I've been reading, weeks ago when this first came out, I was reading obviously think pieces and people on social media. And of course, they're saying people are saying lock him up so that all of this can stop. Now, listen, I'm not opposed to that or some type of consequence because what he did was criminal. But my question is, what's going to stop exactly? Because if the consciousness is still there, then 1,000 more Diddy's and Weinsteins exist already. 1,000 more are already on the way, some of whom, here I go, are in your family right now being protected by somebody. And I hope I'm not talking to anyone on here. But we have to have this honest conversation. And let's go back to the chat. Let me just see how you all are doing. Good evening to those who came in. Good evening to you all. I see you. Miss Loretta said, we don't need another hero, said Tina Turner. Absolutely. And she would know based on what she went through. You said a mouthful. Thank you. I'm speaking from the heart. So hopefully you're hearing my heart tonight. Hey, Miss Christine, absolutely. And good evening, Miss Rosetta. Good evening, Miss Regina. Good evening, Miss Marcia or Marcia, depending on how you pronounce it. Good evening, Miss Sharon. Of course, I just wanted to go down the list to acknowledge each of you. Thank you for being on. Now, let me say this. I still believe in the divinity of humankind. I still believe in the divinity of people, including these moguls. My disappointment, our disappointment in Diddy, does not negate principle. And this goes for anyone. Because frankly, when Diddy was in his divinity, he produced hits. Well, let me be more specific. He produced classics. He brought people together with his artistry and vision. When he was in his divinity, he gave us Biggie, Mary J., Faith Evans, and many iconic artists. We saw it, we felt it, we experienced it, we witnessed it, we fell in love with it. But when he wasn't in his divinity, he did some stuff that wasn't okay, like we all do, if we're going to be honest. But we were so in love by what he represented on screen that we turned a blind eye to what was going on behind the scenes, because family people threw up flags about him for years, especially in how he did business and how people he did business essentially went broke. Like how? But anyway, that's a different story. But when I saw the video, I'm like, all right, I'm seeing this too much. How do we fix this for real? Because what we're saying didn't come out of a vacuum. And I had to sit back and think about it. That's why I didn't do this particular show as soon as it happened because I had to think about this. And I think we have to get real and admit that as a society, we have a weird obsession with people. Like we have these strange affinities for people to the point where they can do no wrong. Again, we deify people and we almost take it personally when people come at them because, again, they're our heroes. They're our ancestors' wildest dreams, as they say, and we live vicariously through them. And for us as Black Americans, us especially, I say this with love, but we're so desperate for representation in entertainment, politics, corporate America, everywhere. We're so desperate for recognition and representation with people who look like us that will accept anything. Like all you got to do is dress nice and you already have our vote. Forget a person's character. All they have to do is look good and turn on that preacher's voice, and we're all in. And I don't mean to make us come off so simple minded, but if the shoe fits, because be real, if someone has our skin tone, if someone pledged our fraternity or sorority, if someone went to our alma mater, if someone has letters in front of or behind their name, or if someone has a little bit of money, then we turn a blind eye and we allow them to skate on things that they should have got checked on. Let's admit it, we do this. But if someone meets our little list and they do wrong, let me say that. If someone meets our list of what's acceptable and they do something that's wrong, we get quiet. We make excuses. But if someone you don't like behaves in the same way, somehow our moral compass comes out. Somehow we're quoting scriptures and we want to be the most ethical person in the room. Hold up. If it was no big deal when grandma did it or when you did it, why is it a big deal now? See, this flip flopping stuff we do is a problem. Integrity is needed here. And that's why cancel culture, I want to touch on that a little bit. This cancel culture and this other stuff, that's why it doesn't really work because it's not consistent. If sexual abuse is so bad, which it is, then don't just stop at the male predators, go after the female ones too, because they exist. Don't just go after the Black predators, go after the white, Hispanic, Asian ones too. Go after all of them. But what we often see is once one person go down, then people act like, okay, we're done. But wait, there are others. Like there's more. It and it's it's similar to folks who believe, which I've seen this, and that's probably why I'm an introvert. But it's similar to folks who believe that when a man cheats, it's the most awful thing in the world. But when a woman cheats, it's empowering and she's standing in her sexual power and all this stuff. No, either it's all wrong or it's all empowering. Pick one. This half righteous, half ratchet stuff that we do is off putting. Stand on something, family. And what I'm trying to get across is that you don't get to be mad at Diddy when you let stuff slide that's going on in your own house. You don't get to talk about the former president and his legal trouble while you're throwing your cape on for Miss Marilyn Mosby. She was the former state attorney in Baltimore who just got convicted. Just because she went to a HBCU and she looked like your cousin. No, no, no. I need us to stop. And I'm not saying hate anybody. All I'm saying is you don't get to have a problem with one, but not the other if it's truly based on principle. I'm looking at the chat now. Absolutely. We don't need another hero. Absolutely. Miss Rose, Diddy brought a lot to the game. Sad that he had sullied his image. Very sad. Miss Loretta, truth is truth, no matter who you are. Although I still love Michael Jackson's music and genius, can we separate the actor from his genius? Absolutely. I mean, I still like a lot of people, a lot of artists who were how can I say this? I still like a lot of people's music who may have missed the mark. I'll just say that. But Michael Jackson is a different issue because I don't think he was ever convicted. He was accused, but I don't think he was ever convicted of anything. But I get your point though. But I harp on this subject, even for the past few sermons I've done. Like I've been harping on the subject of accountability because as a millennial, I'm actively living in the horrible legacies and decision making of people who lacked integrity. Even in my family, like neither side gets along. I don't know if this is the case for your family, but in my family, neither side gets along. Nobody on my dad's side is really close, and nobody on my mom's side fool with each other like that. It's that kind of stuff. And ever since I was a kid, I remember sitting at tables with family who would be having a good time, talking, joking, eating, and truly enjoying each other's company, it seemed. Then, as soon as one person or one group left the table, the remaining family would talk about them like dogs. And then, of course, the folks who left would find out about it and they would keep their distance, and rightfully so. And then, folks want to act so confused when people don't show up to reunions, or they would try to run a guilt trip on the ones they harm. Like, why? Why show up to a reunion? Who am I uniting with? See, if love is what unifies and attracts, if there's no love there, then folks are not going to come. They don't owe you a yes, especially when they know you full of almost nobody owes you a yes. But Mitch, we got to respect our elders. No, I don't. You probably do. I don't. Now, granted, whoever seen me in person, I give you all the respect and love. So I'm not necessarily saying anything antithetical to what I do. I give love and respect because it's given to me. And in the case when it's not given, you won't see me. I disappear. I don't need to do anything. All I need to do is release you and keep it moving because I don't owe you anything other than to respect your divinity and to honor mine. I don't care about age or status. If you harm my people, you're not my elder. You are somebody who needs to sit down somewhere and check yourself. And all of this ties back to our subject because we do things or we allow things to happen and act so shocked when we get the reaction that we do. Now, does this mean that we have to see or correct every single problem or wrong thing that somebody does? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that people like Sean Combs wasn't created overnight. His track record goes back decades. But because he was Mr. Black Excellence, we closed our eyes and just kept dancing. What I'm saying is that we can't continue to close our eyes to wrong and then get mad when we see monsters when we open them. Like we can't keep allowing craziness to happen around us and remain quiet because the person went to a HBCU or because they your line sister. No, HBCU or not, if you are harming folks, you need to get checked. And I want to go to the chat real quick. R. Kelly was convicted. I won't be vibing to this genius masterpiece because for me, there's no separating the villain from the craft. Woody Allen, too. I understand that and I can truly respect that. Um, I guess my question would be, dog, because art is a different beast. Because And let me share this because at my fifth grade graduation, we sung I Believe I Can Fly. And so that song has different meaning for me. It resonates for me differently. I don't think about R. Kelly per se when I sing that song, even though he, he made the song. So there has to be, but I don't want to tell you what to do, even though that's what I did for the past 30 minutes. No, I, you can move however you want to with that. There's no right or wrong because I get where you're coming from. It's hard to really separate it. Um, it's not impossible though, because if we're going to be honest, and I don't mean to upset some folks here, but we call ourselves Fillmorians. We follow the teachings of Charles Fillmore, but rumor had it, he wasn't too fond of people who look like us. So how do you separate it when some of the stuff that he provided us was good information? So that's what I mean. It gets a bit, what's the word? It can get a bit much if we attempt to do it, although I would understand why you would. All right. And I just leave it there. But thank you for that comment. Good evening, Angie. It was good seeing you Sunday. Miss Loretta, I'm with you, Reverend Mitch. I don't believe in showing up where love or respect is not being served. Our family should be more honest with each other. Absolutely. Family may be another topic because I keep hearing people say, well, God gave you family, so just follow them forever. But I get the choice, right? You can give me whatever. That don't mean I got to use it. Yeah, that may be another show, Miss Loretta. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Angie, is this being recorded? Absolutely. Every show is being recorded on YouTube and Facebook, so you can always check back on it. And tonight I'm audio only because I'm not in that space where I typically film, and where I'm currently am is not camera ready. Bernie, wrong is wrong. He is only sorry the video came out. Yep, I don't disagree with that. Miss Regina, don't go don't go there regarding Charles Fillmore. Progress, not perfection. I wish that Fillmore acknowledged that he got much of his information from the motherland. Oh, and I see your second part here, but I don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I can take what I need and leave the rest, as they say in a. Yes, I agree with that. It because it gets to a point where okay, what is too far? You know, because what I do with Fillmore is I take what he says and then I kind of reinterpret it for myself. But he's not my God. He's not, like, yeah, that may be another conversation. uh, but thank you for that, Miss Reggie Akioka. Sean Combs has been in the game for many years, City College hip hop party in the 90s. Absolutely. Now, I remember jamming him back in middle school, or not middle school, elementary school. So it's almost like he's part of the family in a way, these celebrities, that they're part of our families. I mean, we see them more than we see our own family sometimes. We hear them more than we talk to our own families and listen to our own family sometimes. So that's why this stuff is kind of shocking because how can they do this? Well, consciousness. I mean, I know that's the cop out thing we say, but it's the truth. But family, because again, I never like keeping you all too long. But as I close, I have a personal request. I love y'all, and I know y'all love me too. And I'm so grateful for everyone's kind words and support. But please, family, especially as I'm growing, never create an environment for me or for anyone where I get so high and mighty to the point where overstep my bounds with you. Like, please don't do that. Because if I do it with you, I'm gonna do it with somebody else. These days, if you give folks an inch, they'll take a yard. See, stuff like this is when stuff becomes a pattern. And once you know it, Mitch is on the news because he acted crazy. And all because you either wanted someone who looked like you in a seat of power and quote unquote power, or because you had an affinity with me. That's why accountability is such a key part of my ministry. Just create a consciousness of love for me. Never let me skate on anything. Because even as a millennial, because I'm just one of two millennials in the UFBL who's licensed as a minister. Me and Jermaine McKenzie, he and I became the first millennials. And so I really take on this responsibility because what we're doing is creating a precedent for those to follow. And I really don't want anybody to come after me just taking on some of my bad traits, so to speak. Now, like, I should always be checked when I'm wrong. That my point is that never give anyone the power to destroy you. Again, do you need a hero that bad? No one should ever think that they can overstep and not get put in check. I keep saying that, because the moment you let someone think this, then expect this consciousness to live on. All right. So let's do our part to fix this. And I think that's part of it. And family, I'm done. Oh, man. I just want to look at the comments really quickly. Where were we? So Kioka, by the way, R. Kelly what has released his talks on Sean Combs, more to come, not just them. Wow. I mean, okay. Wow. That's all I'll say is wow. Kioka, stay humble. Of course. Bernie, humility is key. Keeping my heart and eyes on you. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm so grateful. Because the thing is that none of you have to support me. None of you have to show, none of you have to be here. So I'm grateful. How dare I act like I'm the king of the world? Because people like it. No, I mm, I don't know. And you have done well. Thank you, Angie. Hey, Miss Mary. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you, love. Do you need a hero that bad? Thank you, Miss Barbara. And I'm happy to have you on. Miss Cheryl, if you allow integrity to undergird your thought and action, no worry. Exactly. Exactly. And I always ask myself, okay, if somebody, I do the simple little questions. They may seem elementary, but they work for me. Anytime I feel like I'm about to snap, I ask myself, okay, so if somebody does this to my mother or to my grandmother or to my father or to someone I love, would it be appropriate? Would I be okay with that? And then that kind of brings me back down to reality. Now, that's my method. We all need our method. Some people count down to 10, but we all need that method to just come back down and just operate in love and operate in integrity and fairness, even in the face of injustice and rudeness, etc. But as I said earlier, I just walk away. Um, Miss Regina, thank you. I'm growing. Everybody else might be saints of God. True. I mean, those mountaintop people I was talking about who are high on the mountain. Nah, like we're all growing here. At least I hope we are. Miss Loretta, it's good to bring these tough topics out in the open. We as Black Americans hide our pain too much, right? And because we've been told to pray it away. We've been told, well, look at what your ancestors went through. How dare you feel any pain? I mean, what? Again, that may be a future topic. Ooh, Y'all giving me so many ideas tonight. Miss Sharon, I appreciate what you said about family to hang in just because it's so unhealthy. Right. It do I really need to do a show on family? Because I'm a really get disowned by some of my relatives if I do. Family is one of those interesting topics because nah, I ain't gonna talk because I'm gonna get in I'm gonna get in trouble. But thank you, Miss Sharon. I appreciate it. Hiding pain was a survival trait, and those who still exhibit these tendencies should be shown mercy. We Black Americans are perfect. Oh, and so it is. True. That's true. You didn't want to show people quote unquote weakness, but we have to look long term and see has that helped us. Miss Loretta, yes, we need a show on family. Okay. Well, I'll see where that can fit in. Thank you, Miss Debbie. Great topic and input from everyone. Thank you. Now, I want to go to our topic, not topic, our question for tonight. Give me 1 second. I really appreciate you all being on. Hold on, let me flip. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to get to the question. All right, let me put this up. All right. Dog, that took 30 minutes. All right. So the first question that I have for you, if you want to reflect further on this, the first question, in what ways do I hold myself and those I love or respect accountable? In what ways do I hold myself and those I love and respect accountable? Or do you remain quiet? Like, really examine yourself. And you don't have to be nasty about it either. How do you bring order or love to a situation where disharmony or disrespect appears to be leading the way? Or do you excuse yourself and let them do what they need to do? Where do you fall on that? I'm curious. So that's the first question. And honestly, because this is so heavy, I'm going to just give question two. In the fun times that we're living in what ways am I enjoying life right now? Because we have to have some fun too. We got to play sometimes and not play in the way some of these moguls do. Like Cat Williams said, sometimes Diddy be wanting to party and you got to tell him no. But if in what ways am I enjoying life right now? Because we have to. Because if we try to carry this, then life will surely tumble us over. And I had another question, but I think I have to think on that because I don't want to get too deep into that. That's one of those kind of questions that I had previously. I took it off, but that's one of those questions where I'm gonna really need like a mental health professional on to talk about it. Because to some of you all's point, I think Miss Loretta brought it up about hiding our pain or something like that's because do you know you really can't hide anything that is going to show up? And so that's why I asked, Cam, has that really been beneficial to our people to just hide pain? I see this, Miss Mary. I try to reflect on how I'm adding value to a situation. Sure. Me too. I like to think that as well. And of course, if I don't feel I'm adding value, I tend to step out of the room or just get out of the equation and let them do what they need to do. Miss Loretta, I create accountability partnerships. I just did that with my sister who needs encouragement on an issue. I send her a note each day to remind her of her commitment and to see how she's doing. That's great, Miss Loretta. Yeah, I think back in the day we used to have accountability buddies or something like that. Whether it be with projects or schoolwork or something, we used to just have someone to help keep us on track, to help support us in that work. But I like that. Thank you for sharing. But remember that these questions are for your eyes only, really. I mean, you can share if you want, but these are just yours to reflect on and to think about. And as you do that, I just wanted to just close with a few announcements that the next show will be Tuesday, June 11th at 7:30. Because again, I'm trying to do this every second and fourth Tuesday. Not because someone asked, is this weekly? No, because I don't think I'll be consistent weekly. I know for sure I will just overwhelm myself quickly. So at least every second and fourth Tuesday, and the next is June 11th. So subscribe if you haven't already so you can be notified as soon as we go live. And if you're a millennial or Gen Z tuning in, please let me know in the chat or comments or email me. My email is mitch@utruthcenter.org. My email is in the description box. I would love to connect with you. And as far as my next lesson, that will be on June 23rd. So at UTC. So save the date for that. The service starts at 9:50 a.m. And speaking of, when you go to the Lounge's YouTube page, I added a playlist tab where you can see all of my lessons so far. So it's all in one place if you would like to go review any of them. And of course, speaking of UTC, please visit their website at utruthcenter.org and follow them on social media to stay up to date with what's going on. And lastly, replays of our broadcast are available in the live tab when you go to YouTube and on our Facebook page. You may have to scroll a little bit or just click on the videos tab and they should appear there. And if you need to reach out to me for anything, my email is in the description box below. And so before I close, let me just read any final thoughts. Miss Regina, sometimes you don't know that you're hiding pain. You're just numb, treading water, but not really swimming. True, right? It's like you've gotten used to it and now it's almost a part of you. Like it's hard to put into it. Like it's normal now, even though it shouldn't be. But I get you. Miss Loretta, yeah, it's enjoy life, love great music, go to the R&B and jazz. Well, absolutely. I love me some R&B, especially the old school. I think Michael Baisden, when he was on the radio, like when he got when he left radio, I think that's when I stopped listening. And so I just went back to the old school, even though he typically played the old school, like the real R&B, soul, jazz stuff. Like that's my vibe. It's nothing beats the 90s and prior. And of course, some 2010 cuts I like to 2010 prior, but whew, I love it. But family, I pray that you all understood this perspective tonight. I pray that you all heard my heart. I'm also praying for those who have been victims of abuse, whether it be physical, sexual, verbal, what have you. I pray for your peace. I pray for your healing. And I pray for your realization that the other person's behavior is not your burden to carry. It's not your burden to try to rationalize or understand, because in truth, it had nothing to do with you anyway. And it's also not your burden to try to understand why folks stood by and let the abuse happen. Your job is to acknowledge the presence of God in you and to express, let it express, let me say it that way, in you until adequate realization of who you are is attained. Let me say that again. Your job is to acknowledge the presence of God in you and to let it express in you until adequate realization of who you are is attained. Now, that's simplistic, it seems, but it's not. Putting full faith into this presence is work. but it's work worth doing. But you have the full permission of this universe to release and be free. You deserve it. Just take your time and be your own hero now. And know that I love you, you are loved, and I give thanks in advance for the new consciousness that's seeking to emerge. And now I leave you with our prayer of protection. Uh-oh. See, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. Thank you for tuning in, family. I will see you on the 11th. I hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Take care.